All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children over the age of 18. Welcome to another episode of the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast, where I'm joined with my co-host, lifelong best friend, David, aka Gonzo. Gonzo, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a pleasure to get together once more to do another one of these episodes. So I'm actually really excited. There was a lot of good content from this week and looking forward to diving into that with you right now.
Absolutely. And let's give a shout out to AOK Gaming here. He wasn't able to watch the Elimination Chamber due to, being an adult, but we get it. We'll hope to have you back next week. But remember, go follow my boy AOK Gaming. He'll probably be gaming tonight. Who knows what he's going to be on, but make sure you guys go follow him on all social media. That is our third co-host. He is not a guest. He is a co-host on this show. So show your support for him, guys. All right. But getting into it, guys, before we start with this episode, I want to let you guys know what we're all about in case you guys don't know who we are. Hold on one second. There you go. Follow here, guys. AOK Gaming. Once again, there you go. If you are into, watching people play games and get mad and crush controllers, Angel's your guy. All right. Anyway, so once again, if you guys are first timers here, what this podcast is about, the Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast is a WWE based podcast for now, where we go over the landscape of the WWE, and the past week headlining this week would be the Elimination Chamber. And as we go on with the show, the more you guys interact, the better. We'll bring up your comments. We'll talk about it. Show your support, like, comment, follow. The more engagement we get, the better, and the faster we'll grow. All right. So going into it, Gonzo, let's start off. Before we get to Elimination Chamber, I know that's what everyone wants to talk about. We're going to quickly touch on NXT. This week in wrestling, in my opinion, in WWE was kind of boring leading up to not boring, but the shows weren't really that great. It was just, leading up to Elimination Chamber, but NXT was still a pretty decent show in my opinion. So let's start off with, I think, the hottest, my opinion, the hottest storyline in NXT right now is the Carmelo Hayes Trick Williams rivalry. So Gonzo, we had a video promo basically giving us Carmelo Hayes's agenda behind the whole heel turn. What did you think about it? Break it down for me.
I thought it was really helpful that they went to the video promo just because I know the initial opportunity to do that, the crowd was very, very hot, and they did not allow a lot of communication or the ability to even get out a few words. So to do it in a more controlled environment, to allow the message to be delivered and not to miss out any wasted time, I thought that was really effective because later in the show we also saw Dragunov do very much the same thing, right? It was a video promo to allow the fans to absorb what needs to happen, what had happened, what will happen. And like I said, first time through, right after the initial pay-per-view, that was rather difficult to do. And again, that's the audience being very engaged with the promotion, but then at the same time, I know WWE Creative went a different route to make sure that there's no issues, that it can be communicated effectively as it needed to be.
No, yeah, I agree. The Carmelo Hayes promo, I personally like, video promos. I mean, I feel like it's a lot better quality, and you don't have someone stumbling on the mic or something like that. Not that they do. It's just, just in general. What I did love about the promo that I want to touch on is that in the beginning of, when Hayes and Trick Williams bursted on the scene, they used to do promos in a barbershop, and they would talk like, just shooting the shit with everybody in there, just like you would normally do in a barbershop. And the fact that Carmelo Hayes was placed back in there, basically where it all started, it really builds their feud even more. And I can't wait to get that payoff, which I'm pretty much guaranteeing it's going to happen at Stand and Deliver. If it's done before Stand and Deliver, it's stupid. So, I mean, you're going to have that big blow off at Stand and Deliver, which is NXT's, Wrestlemania weekend. As far as like calling out Dragunov, and Dragunov responding, do you think that next week, when and if Carmelo accepts that face to face to get potentially back in the title picture, does Trick reemerge?
Yeah, because this has been 2 weeks, right? We haven't seen him.
Mm-hmm. So do you think it's like a trap, or it's just basically Dragunov just doesn't give a crap about them too? It's just basically calling out, trying to be a badass.
Well, I mean, the champion's got to do his part, right? Because ultimately he's being impacted. And if he
Right.
doesn't, and if he allows certain things to happen, what type of image does that then paint him as? So I don't know if it'd be a trap, but definitely the ability to be on screen and to get included. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I don't know about a trap. Maybe this is something that is going to happen. Ultimately, it's needed to happen, would be a safe way to maybe phrase that.
Okay. Yeah, I could go with that. I think 100% on Tuesday, Trick has to reemerge. We're 40 something days away from WrestleMania or Stand and Deliver, so that whole thing really needs to start to build. And I'm looking forward to the promos and the emotion that we're gonna get from both of them being so close and being brought up when it was NXT 2.0 together. With the whole rebrand of that NXT when it was in that, in my opinion, the dark ages, because the 2.0 brand was just you know but when they came up together, when everyone basically when they did a whole rebrand, so it would be good to see them. It would be a good blow off for them. We could see what happens. But moving on, we're gonna jump to the main event of NXT real quick. So we had Lyra Valkyria versus Shotzi for the NXT Women's Championship, and it was abruptly ended because Shotzi tore her ACL, dude.
I
Mid
thought nothing of
match,
that. I thought
mid
nothing of it.
match.
Well, because I knew she was hurt to begin with, and she was pulled from the chamber match. So when ultimately they're going back and forth, and all of a sudden she is whatever is that's happening. I thought it was kind of like how Randy Orton right now is playing off his back injury. So all of a sudden, out comes your favorite general manager in live living color. And ultimately, I'm thinking to myself as I'm watching that, I'm like, wow, this is really strange that Lash Legend all of a sudden is coming back out and we're really going to push her. I mean, she looked great earlier in the show. And then for her to come back out, because I know it cut to the little scene with Roxanne getting super pissed off that they allowed Lash Legend to go out there and challenge for the title. So, like I said, to me, I didn't really think too much of it until as we're prepping for this show tonight, I seen a comment that you had in our notes leading into this evening, and I had to quickly Google search it. Nope, legitimate. Torn ACL, getting surgery.
Yes, she tore it off that apron, dude. She grabbed it immediately. I'm surprised you didn't, feel it in your knees, with all your knee surgeries. Like,
Hey, hey, hey,
you
hey,
know,
hey. I've never torn an ACL though. I've had some meniscus tears and a kneecap fracture.
hey,
But as far as ACL tears, no, those are still intact right now.
I'm just saying, man, that should have hit home to you real quick. You should have recognized that was legit, especially when someone can't go, because wrestlers get hurt all the time, but they continue to go in those matches. She could not go, and it left NXT scrambling. Um, Obviously, Lash Legend, I don't know if she was just like the chosen person. I think she was just because she was fresh off her match and still in her gear. They were like, hey, get out there and just see what happens.
She
You
looked
know what I
great.
mean? But regardless, I felt like Valkyria and Legend did what they did afterward just to give the fans some kind of match because they were promised, a main event. It's just unfortunate what happened at Shotzi. But I think putting the trust in Lash Legend to just go out there and be like, hey, give us something. And I felt they did a good job for what it was. I'm not gonna give it a grade. We're not Meltzer over here, but for for what it was, I thought it was pretty solid for an impromptu match that Lash Legend had no idea she was gonna be in. And it could be good for her going forward just because she was in that spotlight now with Valkyria. So
Well, I
we'll
said a
see what
prime
goes on.
example is
Yeah.
I paid no attention to it because I figured it was just part of the natural storyline because Shotzi was originally supposed to be booked for the Elimination Chamber
Mm-hmm.
on the main roster. So
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, it seemed kind of off, but I didn't really think too much into it.
Yeah. Well, it was legit. She messed up her knee, and you should have cried with her. But all right, moving on. Your boy, every week, man, this guy gets a segment. Your boy Obafemi versus Lexus King. This is the first time in an Oba match, in my opinion, left me. I was like, that was an underwhelming match, and it was not Obafemi's fault. It was Lexus King. Um, what did you think about that match before I rip it apart?
Man, man, you're coming out firing tonight.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. Ultimately, you can't have these tremendous matches every single time that you're going to step into the
Mm-hmm.
squared circle, right? Lexus King, he does wonderful mic work. a lot of in-ring presence. I wasn't too picky with what I had seen directly in that match. And so, for the most part, again, Lexus King didn't get dominated by Femi, so there was a good back and forth display of strength overall, size and athleticism. But I know your face says a little bit. You got some additional opinions that are about to hit him, so I'll turn it over to you. Overall, I'm not going to say that it was the worst thing that I've seen. So, I mean, Marcos is hating and I'm just trolling. So, I mean, that's ultimately a quick comment that came in real quick.
Well, I appreciate the engagement. Any engagement I take it. I don't care. And I am gonna hate on this match. Um, so like I said, this was not Obafemi's fault. This was not Lexus King's fault. I felt like they don't know what to do with Lexus King anymore, and Lexus King was fed to the new big dog in NXT. The match was underwhelming because I felt as though Obafemi did dominate Lexus King, which kind of pissed me off. It wasn't a squash match, which once again, thank you. I could appreciate that. I freaking hate it, squash matches. But you brought in this Lexus King guy from AEW. Okay. He had video vignettes. The guy was coming out. You're going to push this guy. And all of a sudden, now he just seems lost in the way, which we all know he was not going to be Obafemi because Obafemi is getting pushed to the ruin right now. But he should have had a better showing. And Lexus King has not been booked right, in my opinion, if you're going to push this guy, and he's not given the respect that he deserves. And I wanted to see this be a legitimate match, maybe even giving Oba's first legitimate feud. I think it was good for what it was with the couple weeks of story that it had. But at the end of the day, having Stone interfere just makes Lexus King look
Yeah,
even worse. You
like
know,
who is that guy? Because
he's a manager of Von Wagner. It got personal with them because he was attacking, like Lexus King was going after his children, and you know, it's just like another, to me, Von Wagner is another one of those typical WWE 7-footers that are just going to dominate life. And basically, from what I see, because Stone's involvement, you're going to have Lexus King job out to Obafemi, who is a monster, and go to another monster and get dominated again. But then you put all this effort in entrance and video vignettes, and this guy's coming to just lose back to back. That's what's ultimately going to happen because they're building Von Wagner to be the next big guy too. So it's like,
well, because I've been watching again since
you
me
know,
and you've been getting prepared for this since December, and
yeah,
that Van Wagner guy I've not seen or heard of all too much.
he went away for a little bit.
Okay, so I know clearly he gets involved with that match towards the end, and it's a little quirky.
You're not
So
missing much. Picture all the 7-footers in WWE history. He's just another 7-foot guy with
a mouthpiece.
a mouthpiece that choke slams and power bombs everyone, and just the same character.
Are we sure he's 7 foot? He don't look 7 foot.
No, he's not 7 foot. I just classify every big man as 7 foot. I don't know. Maybe
Okay,
you
I was
know.
gonna say that dude does not look 7 foot
No,
tall.
no. He's just another gigantic guy that chokes and power bombs people. It's just another boring character that they don't know what to do with. Um, but yeah, so that's why. So Lexus King, I don't know. It's like, do you rebrand him now? Like, I don't know, because you guys are clearly not sold on him to have him job out. And Oba, I need to see him in a feud now. So that's what I was hoping for, especially because you got Lexus so young, and that's not what we got. I think it's done. So
I mean, can we say that potentially NXT did not anticipate the rise and the efficiency of an Obafemi like this?
yeah, you can say that. But even if they didn't, that's just good for you guys. If my NXT brand is doing well, and I just struck lightning in a bottle with Obafemi, that further makes it better for me. And now I got this young guy that I'm pushing in Lexus King, and I got Obafemi. Why am I gonna have Obafemi just demolish him and then we're gonna push Lexus King to the side? No, put him in a feud. Give him something to work for. He doesn't have to be a champion, but you could have not made him look like crap either. There's many ways
Harsh.
to there's many ways to go over Gonzo, and it's not just winning. You could lose a match and still be over. And you could have given him a better showing to lose to Obafemi, and you could have been able to showcase both of their abilities, and that's not what I saw in that match.
Harsh critique. Like I said, I actually enjoyed it.
So that's just me. Um, I mean, real quick. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time in it, but tell me Lexus King's outlook now post match with Obafemi.
I mean,
What's
they
his outlook?
just, I mean, King already on screen so far since I've been watching, he just inserts himself into random things and he just lets it,
Exactly.
well, he lets it be known that this is what he's going to do. So technically
Exactly.
speaking, it's one of those things where that's what I've grown accustomed to so far.
His character is, you just hit it on the nose. He inserts himself, so he's that annoying little tick that you flick. So you get to fight this person. All right, we're done. Now I'm gonna be annoyed on this guy, and I'm gonna flick him away on that one, and I'm gonna flick him away on this one. Give me something with substance. You shove this guy down my throat for 2 months. This guy's coming. He video vignettes and all this bullshit, and then now you just have him lose, lose, lose. Remember Adam
Maybe
Rose? Remember Adam Rose?
the
Remember how
Rosebuds produced several current WWE superstars
I'm
that
just
are
saying.
destroying the landscape of the business.
Don't be a
Careful.
lemon, be a rosebud. But remember Adam Rose being shoved down our throats too, and I fucking love them. And guess what? He lost every single time.
He didn't have to. He produced the Rosebuds that
Mm,
are now
moving
taking
on.
over WWE. But yes, I
Move,
think we should because you're about to blow your top already. We're only
yeah,
10 minutes into this.
yeah. Moving on. Last thing we're gonna talk about NXT is another popular team, the Wolf Dogs. All right, so we got the Wolf Dogs, aka the Mud Dogs, as you like to call them for whatever reason. Come
Never
out.
seen Waterboy? Come on now.
Of course, I've seen Waterboy. They come out with their new championships. We have new number one contenders for those championships in Chase University, the revamped Chase U now after they were saved from their gambling debt. That's their story of why they almost went under, which I think is kind of comical. But the thing I do want to talk about that is post match. So the OC attacks everyone: Axiom, Nathan Frazier. They attack Chase U. So the OC now in NXT, that's formerly the Good Brothers and other promotions, and most recently the OC disbanded or kind of went away from AJ Styles. What do you think of them entering the tag team scene in the NXT?
I was going to ask you, I was going to be rather excited to talk about this. To
Mm-hmm.
see them show up on the main roster, they don't do anything outside of just get tongue lashings from a very upset AJ Styles. And
Yep.
so it's been a long time since they've been in any type of relevancy. So to see them back on, or not back in, but to be placed on NXT, to have now a pivotal role with doing a lot of the upbringing and mentoring for the younger stars, just like Corbin's doing, I'm actually all for it. I'm enjoying that because they do bring a lot of experience, talent that roster definitely can benefit from. But as far from a story point telling now, I'm interested to understand why they're there. I'm interested to understand what the reasoning is at this point in time. And so with that moving forward, are there any direct connections with Corbin and the OC?
Um, to answer your question, no. To for your point, talking about you're just excited that they're there. So the fuck am I. Um, they much needed some type of reset, and I'm so glad that they're in the NXT right now. I don't know how long they're going to be there, but they don't have any connection with any of those people. They just came out basically putting the tag team division on notice. I just hope that they're not thrusted into the tag title picture right away. Although I would understand it because now you got Braun Breaker pulling double duty, and who knows how long they're going to hold those titles for. But I'm just glad that they are finally not buried, as our game is called coming up, because that's what they were on the main roster. With no AJ, they were buried. The Good Brothers is their indie name. They are a phenomenal tag team. All right, New Japan, TNA Impact,
Are
bunch
they
of
former Bullet
promotions.
Club?
Their former Bullet Club with AJ Styles back in the day too. That's why they do the Too Sweet. I'm just absolutely glad and ecstatic that they're on NXT right now. But we need to use them to elevate more tag teams before they get thrust in the title picture, in my opinion. But we'll see. In that number one contenders match, I just want to give kudos to Nathan Frazier and Axiom, who is a random mashup tag team. and they just absolutely killed it, in my opinion, this week. That tag team title match, or tag team number one contender match, was freaking solid, and I think was the best show all night, or best match on the show all night. Um, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what they're gonna do with them. I would like to see them look more like tag teams, like an actual tag team. What they do, in regards to maybe a name coming out together, which they do, but they kind of mash up their music a little bit. It's kind of weird, but little things like that, like I said, help make a tag team for me personally. Um, but the whole tag team division and that whole tag team segment was nothing but positives, in my opinion.
Well, that pairing has been on fire for the last, oh goodness, what, month and a half?
Yep.
Each time I see them
Mhm.
on screen, they're wonderful.
I
And
would have
so,
rather have them win the Dusty Classic.
and that's, I think, what the Good Brothers ultimately can help further escalate that team to greater heights along, because you figure you're going to lose Breaker at some point. You already lost the big strong boy, and I know he
Mhm.
was up doing a lot of tag team back and forths, and there's a lot of question marks. And so this shakeup, as to see you as excited as you are, I'm looking forward to seeing what else that they can do now.
I just love tag team wrestling. It's probably my favorite.
It's a
So
dying breed in
anytime
WWE.
anytime I see a division getting a revamp or a team getting, I'm gonna be all over. I love tag team wrestling. It's my favorite part of wrestling. Even though obviously, like I said, everyone loves world championships and all that stuff. But if I were a professional wrestler, I would love to be in a fucking amazing tag team. So that's just me. But OC couldn't be happier. We'll see what happens on NXT. But lastly, since we are talking about, Braun Breaker, so he signed with SmackDown, right? So he's going to be pulling double duty for a while. Let's just say hypothetically they lose. What happens to your boy Baron Corbin?
He can do singles. I mean, because his
Those,
whole purpose right now is to elevate and to allow future stars to emerge. And so I know that's his first championship strap that he's had in a very long time. You've already got that checked off. As far as to what other types of storylines he can find himself in, I would love it if him versus Joe Gacy became a thing. That would be great. And so Joe Gacy has been fantastic in the couple matches and vignettes that I've seen of him so far. You got Happy Corbin, you got Sad Corbin. Potentially, you may have Psychopath Corbin coming now. The two going off. To me, it's entertaining. Corbin's always been entertaining to me, and I like how he's able to switch up his character from time to time. I know you don't care for him, a lot of other people don't, but you know what? Angel had made mention of this several times. It's just the different characters is definitely needed. You need to have your serious category, you need to have your silly, you need to have kind of like that weird, we're blurring the lines of reality versus, going into the world of the unknown. The Gacy character is great. The Corbin character, he constantly reinvents himself. It makes himself relevant. And for that reason, it's a big guy that actually has a lot of character development with him. So I could easily stand behind him with whatever pairing they choose to have him with.
so yeah, I mean, of course he's gonna go singles post, Wolf Dog era. I guess is what we're gonna call it. I don't know. Um, my question is, I think you just answered it because you said Joe Gacy. So my follow up question to that was singles competition. Where does he go back to the main roster? Or does he go to NXT? But with your already answering that question, you're saying he stays in NXT, feuds with younger talent. Then, huh?
I like that. I mean,
Okay.
because what place does he have on the main roster, at least for right now? I could see it build up this way. You have him build a lot of connections with the younger talent in NXT, and at some point, when you get more and more of them coming up to the main roster, now you have new storylines, you have new history that you can immediately connect it to their time in NXT. Now you can call him up, and he could possibly be a manager. He could be possibly form his own type of faction. So you have a lot of possibilities where if you have him on the current roster, I mean, you've already seen him do a lot of things with the talent that's already there, right? And so maybe this has been the angle all along in an effort to, again, just build new types of pathways that now you can take him to keep him relevant still.
Okay, I could go with that, but I'm just gonna end this segment with screw Corbin. So, all right. With that being said, everyone knows we want to talk about the Elimination Chamber, and that's what this episode is titled. But before we do that, we're gonna lighten the mood a little bit, and we're gonna piss each other off. We're gonna play a little game that we like to call Push, Bury, Fire.
I'm gonna try and maybe make you a little bit. I don't know. You're in a mood right now. You're just burying everybody. Screw this. Corbin's garbage, you're garbage, Lex is king. So maybe we can turn it around for you this early in the night.
Appreciate it, Blackwell. All right, we'll go ahead. We'll let you start today.
You're gonna let me start. As far as the pushberry fire, how many rounds are we doing?
Let's do two today. I want to keep this quick, so
Okay.
we'll go back and forth. So 2 rounds total. All right.
No, that is totally fine. And you know what? I'm gonna hit you with the doozy right off the bat. I know you like tag teams, so we're gonna do a pushberry fire for Team Extreme, and we're gonna do it this way. Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Lita. Who are you pushing? Who are you burying? And who are you firing?
All as single people.
No, they're a part of Team Extreme. You're gonna have to
No,
figure out
no,
what
I know.
part of
I'm talking
this.
about all as single superstars. What I'm asking.
However it is that you want this right now. They're currently, just look at it this way, Team Extreme exists at some point back
Ay,
in the
Dios
day.
mío. My question is: you say you're pushberry fire. Those three. Those are my three options. So
Those are your
basically,
three
they're all as
options.
single stars. That's what I'm asking. All right, cool. All
Well,
right.
technically, they're still part of Team Extreme. But now, again, if you're thinking about how do they go singles, I leave this up to you.
This is very easy. This is very, very easy.
Well, we're waiting.
I'm
So,
burying Lita. I'm firing Matt Hardy because he sucks as a singles, and I'm pushing Jeff Hardy because it's Jeff Hardy. So
you answered that a little bit too quickly. So,
next time, give me something good to work with. But
well, I'm
but I
waiting
mean,
for you
it's
now.
it's it's the obvious choice here, guys. Let's break it down real quick. So Matt Hardy, in my opinion, did not have a good singles career ever. All right, Lita is arguably one of the greatest women of all time. She was in an era where she helped revolutionize women's wrestling, and then so that's what I don't want her to use against me. And then Jeff Hardy is Jeff Hardy, man, the ultimate daredevil, the guy who puts on the show. That's what I like. You, and he's there to entertain, right? And he's a former world champion, so very obvious choice. I'm gonna say Gonzo right there. He ain't got no Nami.
I mean, I would have pushed Lita and then buried Jeff Hardy, but
Nah,
that's
nah, I'm
just my
good.
opinion.
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, okay.
All right. So we're gonna give you push spray fire. I actually gave a lot of thought to this one, so hopefully you don't do what I just did and just do it in 2 seconds. But this is what I like to call a generational talent push berry fire. All right, we're going across time here. So we're gonna push berry fire women's wrestling right here. China, Rhea Ripley, and the future, Jade Cargill. I feel like they're all very similar as far as athleticism and frame of work, but we all know who's who. So let's see what's going on.
So, who was it again? Can you say that one more time? So, you got
Chi-
China.
China, Rhea
Yeah.
Ripley, and Jade Cargill. Push Berry Fire.
And Cargill. Okay. Oh, man. That's really tough. I mean, because China,
And that's how you play the game, folks.
Intercontinental Champion back in the day, right? She ended up beating, who was that? Was it Chris Jericho or the Road
I know
Dogg or
she lost to
somebody?
Chris Jericho.
I think
Absolute
she,
travesty, but whatever.
I mean,
She
because
beat
that's
Joe.
pretty significant back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
far as her status goes. Interestingly enough, we're going to fire Jade Cargill.
Oh, fire her. Okay. Okay.
We're going to bury Rhea Ripley. And I want to see what China would do in this current era as women now have been given more of the spotlight and given the type of athleticism that China have clearly displayed back in the day. I would love to see what they could do with her actually in current roster.
Me too. That's
And
why
that's more
why
curiosity.
that's why I gave you this push berry fire. I
Yeah,
think
no,
I think
that
this generation of women's wrestling, she would be a sight to see. I mean, thinking about like dream matches, right? China versus Ripley, even China versus Jade Cargill, the up and comer, Bianca Belair, these humongous, athleticism, these women that just dominate life. Just like she'd be up there with them. You know, and
it's
she,
already got my attention for sure. So,
yeah.
that one in itself, I'm gonna definitely stick with that. Push China, bury Rhea, And then Cargill, she's going to have to wait a little bit longer, unfortunately. Just got to the big company, and unfortunately, in my world, she'd already be gone, sadly.
It's all right. All right, what do you got for me?
Well, as another round, we'll go with this one then. As far as another blast from the past, I was looking this up the other day. Do you remember the anti-Americans from back in the day during the or the early 2000s?
Oh wow, the anti-Americans.
Let's say
Was that like Team Canada?
basically, yeah, because
Like,
you had Test, you had Lance Storm, and you had
yeah,
Christian.
there we go. Okay, yeah, there we go. I do remember them. Yes,
I wanted to be
because
more of, odd tonight with picking some of these. I
yeah,
wanted to set you up with pretty much an easy one, but let's go the anti-Americans as far as pushing, burying, and firing. So again, it's Test,
I'm firing
Lance
Test.
Storm,
All right,
and Christian.
I'm firing Test
What's your reasoning?
because he sucks.
Oh, okay, he's a big
Um,
man. Everybody who's listening. So
this one's a little tougher because the obvious choice would be Christian, but I love me some Lance Storm. Mainly I like WCW Lance Storm when he held like all the championships. Uh, damn, this one's a little tougher, but I want to reiterate that I fired Test because he sucks.
okay.
Um, I would bury Lance Storm and push Christian. Reason being, Christian's mic work. Christian's is amazing in the ring. I feel like Christian would be a bigger star overall. But Lance Storm, you cannot let Lance Storm go to a different company because the guy can bring it. I'm a big Lance Storm fan.
So I have a question for you because we know
Mm-hmm.
that Test passed away rather soon. He was not that old. Do
Mm-hmm.
you think this is more of getting rid of him because he doesn't have as big a body as work in comparison to the others?
No, this is me not liking him outside of TNA. Just to reiterate, not TNA the promotion, TNA the tag team. Just yeah.
You're gonna have to
Uh,
educate the fans on that one.
yeah, so TNA 90s was a tag team with Tess and Albert. That's why they're called TNA. They used to come out with Trish Stratus
The
as, the valet. We're not talking about TNA. I know he did not fight for the TNA promotion
Thank you
because
for the clarification.
so but yeah, it was only because outside of him being in a tag team, he really never sold for me. So that's the only reason. That's why he just wasn't good. So, but if this was tag team, you would have put me in a Push Bear Fire tag team. I do like TNA a lot. Once again, that is the tag team. But yeah, so there's that. And your final Push Berry Fire. I researched this one a lot. I wanted to give something different. We've been kind of doing a lot of obvious stuff, so I kind of feel like you and I are kind of on the same level here today. So David's final Push Berry Fire is 3 men that have never won a WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And all these men I felt as though should have won the World Championship, but never got that opportunity. So your push, Barry, fire, another blast from the past. Hopefully the elders are watching because they're gonna like this. Rowdy Piper, Mr. Perfect, and Scott Hall, or aka Razor Ramon. Push, Barry, fire.
All three of those guys, then, huh?
Yep.
It's kind of shocking that Piper never won it. Hearing that out
Exactly.
loud.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna fire Scott Hall. I'm not the biggest Scott Hall fan. Mr. Perfect and Piper. Now that's where it gets very difficult. Man.
What? Wow. I think Scott Hall.
I
That's
don't like
great.
Scott Hall. I just don't.
Wow.
I
Okay.
don't. His you know what? I'm gonna have to say we're gonna have to mm, wow. I didn't think I'd get stumped this good. It's tough. I love Roddy Piper on the mic. I mean, to be one of the greatest ever, to just be able to talk and to display it and then showman. And then of course you had Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. We're gonna have to push Piper because
Yep.
his mic skills, in-ring skills, even though they're not as good as a Mr. Perfect's, it's still good enough to where I can be entertained as an individual. And, we'll bury Mr. Perfect, unfortunately. That one was a lot harder than I was giving it credit to. But Scott Hall, for reference, I'm not the biggest Scott Hall fan. I'm not the biggest
Wow.
Kevin Nash fan. I don't really care all too much for either one of them, to be
You
truthful
didn't
with
like
you.
the Razor Ramon?
No, not really.
Wow.
To me,
Okay.
it just, I don't know. To me, it was just very dull in a lot of ways. Now, as far as
Wow.
his finisher, the Razor's Edge, that's one of my favorite finishers of all time.
Hey
I do
yo.
like that. So, as far as Mr. Perfect's, because he had the perfect plex, right? That's the Northern Lights suplex, if memory serves me correctly. So, yeah, no, we'll do Piper on that one. His mic skills. If you talk on the mic, you already are in my heart when it comes to being able to be entertained. So,
I would have, just for the record, I would have fired Perfect and buried Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, and pushed Piper.
yeah, but you're a Scott Hall guy.
So I'm no, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I'm just giving you mine. That's what I would have done. Um, I just want to read the ultimate heel moment. I don't care what anyone says. Is Roddy Piper singing La Cucaracha in Texas? I don't know if you know that, but with all those Mexicans in there and just singing La Cucaracha as like their national anthem, heel goat right there.
I'm just saying the mic skills with Piper, it amazes me. I didn't even think about that he never won the WWE championship. So,
Never world champion. All
man.
right. I do have a funny one for you if you want to do it really quick.
Yeah, let's do a funny one. I got a funny one too. So,
All right, we'll do one more round. One more quick round. All right. This is a funny one. This is not meant to be serious, guys, but I'm sure David's Pushberry Fire is going to absolutely love this one. Mean Street Posse, buddy. Joey Abs, PCAS, and Rodney. Pushberry Fire.
oh, Joey Abs, we're gonna push him to the moon. As far as that goes, I love it. The Mean Street Posse, right?
If our co-host is listening, AOK Gaming, Joey Abs, PCAS, and Rodney, bro.
I
That
mean,
was
Rodney's getting fired. The fact that your name is Pete Gas, I mean, the names are the best part. But Rodney, I mean, come on, you have the other two with the
there you
creativeness
go.
there.
There you go.
The River
Push
Dog
them
says push
all.
them all. No, like I said, we're gonna put Mr. Abs up there for sure. My quick one for you then, just to be funny with it, we're gonna do actually the trifecta of the Hollies. You got Hardcore Holly, Crash Holly, and Molly Holly.
Oh damn. That's not easy because I love them all. That is not a funny one. You totally just
That is
hustled
funny.
me.
Come on now. As far as the hardcore
You
title
just
goes,
you just hustled me.
Mighty Molly.
Push Crash. He was awesome. Um, he was awesome. He was awesome at getting his butt kicked by the APA when he didn't knock on the door.
Yes, he was.
Um, Hardcore Holly is another guy I felt like could have been world champion. And he just never got that opportunity. So I'm gonna push Hardcore Holly. I am going to fire Crash and I'm gonna bury Molly Holly. Mighty Molly. Why? Because I love her. It's my girl. The Fun House with the hardcore title was the absolute best. Dude, I agree, man. Trust me. Hardcore Holly 100% should have been champion, though. I feel like he just never got his opportunity. That's why I would definitely push. But that was not a funny one, you liar. That
That was a funny one.
you freaking hustled me. You know I like the Hollies, so no, you hustled me. All right,
It's
but
justice for Test.
I hope you guys enjoyed that push berry fire. If you guys want, we do clip these on our social media, so be sure to like and follow those clips. And if you come across one of those clips, comment who you would like us to push Barry Fire if you see those clips, all right? And we will use it on the next show. So if you comment a push Barry Fire for us, I will bring it up for you guys in next week's show. All right. But moving on, we're going to talk about what everyone wants to talk about. We're finally going to break down the Elimination Chamber. Gonzo, before we get into it, match by match, what'd you think of the show overall? Give me like a rating. Give us a Smack Talk Wrestling podcast rating.
You're gonna have me channel my inner Dave Meltzer, huh?
Yeah, but screw that guy. But yeah, so we're gonna go Dave Gonzo over here. Dave Gonzo, give me an overall rating of the show. What'd you think about it? You don't got to go into detail yet, but what'd you think overall of the show?
I guess if we had to give it a star rating, right? Because a lot of people like to use the 5-star rating. I mean, that show I would say is probably a solid 4. for
Okay.
sure. Not perfect by any means, but definitely connecting a lot of stories, being able to expand on stories. There were some things that I was hoping would go a certain direction, and you know what? Ultimately, it left me entertained. The only drawback, of course, is the time discrepancy. I almost had the chamber ruined for me a couple times just because, in my demented mind, I thought it was scheduled for a different point in time. But either way, I'll give it a solid 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with our fan here, River Dog. I think it was 3.5. Without getting too much into it, I thought the show overall was pretty solid. The matches were good. It was just a very predictable show, which is part of my rating. And that segment that we're going to talk about later with the Grayson Waller effect was just absolute trash. Um, but we'll
We'll
get
get
into
there. We'll
we'll
get
get
there.
into it. But I agree with the 3.5. 3.5 is not a bad rating whatsoever. It was a good show. I was entertained. But we'll get into it. All right. So let's break it down. Gonzo, you ready? So opening match, Kabuki Warriors and Indy Hartwell. Kabuki Warriors versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae for the women's tag team championships. The Kabuki Warriors obviously retained, in my opinion. Hartwell was a hometown favorite. And it was a nice little NXT callback with The Way. They're not called The Way right now, but with Candice and Indy Hartwell. Part of that faction The Way was her real life husband and David's favorite wrestler in the whole world, Austin Theory, was part of The Ray. But I thought that was a pretty cool callback that they got their title shot. What do you think of that match?
I didn't care about it. I mean, it
Okay.
was a random throw in, and I didn't know that much history about those two, like you just explained. So
Mm-hmm.
me, again, just getting back into the swing of things, it really left me in a position where I had to, of course, look them up. And so immediately just seeing the names, I said, "Oh, it's WWE just throwing two random people again together in a match. There's no name, there's no creativity." And it's like, I guess, as far as having the Kabuki Warriors also then be on the pre-show on top of that, I felt that was, I don't know that you needed to do that to that tag team, because again, they're riding a very high wave with the storyline with Bailey, and they've been having them be presented as very, very, very effective. I don't know. I kind of looked at that as a demotion, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say demotion, but I thought they should have been on the main card. I mean, if you wanted to do a pre-show match, you could have done any number of things. You could have put Dominic Mysterio in a match or something, or whatever the case may be, or someone that you're not utilizing. Hell, even an NXT superstar, or something. But I
Demotion
mean,
wasn't the right word. To
so
me, you have that tag championship, and to me, it didn't make it as special, to be truthful
agreed,
with you.
agreed, 100%. Um, but like I said, I did appreciate the NXT callback with The Way. One thing I kind of felt like it was kind of crappy was Indy Hartwell. She's a hometown girl, and she really didn't have any big
Moments.
moments. I would have gave her some type of big moment. Obviously she's not going to win, but some big spot. Or at least gave her just let her dominate the match for like 5 minutes or something. You know what I mean? But overall, I didn't care for the match too much either. I felt as though it could have been better built. Maybe like a women's number one tag team tournament style, or at least number one contender match. It was just like you said, a throw in, which I can't stand. So I hate the random things like that. But as far as random pairing, wasn't a random pairing by any means. I think it would have been better how I would have been as I would actually give them the Way music coming out and kind of doing a big time callback to NXT and maybe even forming that team on the main roster, because those are two women that are not doing anything. So that in its sense, like I said, you don't have to win to go over, but you just coming out of a beloved NXT tag team that you used to have simply could just elevate you just a little bit. And that's what I would have done differently. But moving on, the women's chamber match. Thoughts on that match?
My girl Tiffany Stratton got robbed. I am along with
Robbed
Perth. Did you not hear their chants? They were very upset. They were very upset that she didn't do more in that match. More. I didn't say
more. She
win.
dominated that
Tell
match.
that to Perth. Tell that to Perth.
She
Perth was
dominated
very
that
upset,
match.
and she was lucky enough to get eliminated within the first two people, unfortunately.
But she dominated that match. She had an
Perth did
amazing
not seem
showing.
to think so.
She had an amazing show. She's a rookie, man. We all know she wasn't going to win. We all know this was
Perth did
predetermined.
not agree with that.
Ooh, I'm not going to swear today. I don't give a
Take it
crap
up
what
with the
Kurt said.
crowd. She
I'm
literally is a heel, and they were cheering for her as if she was a face, and they wanted more of her.
who is
That says a
who's
lot.
fighting with you right now? I'm
You.
agreeing with you. What I'm telling you is that she had a good showing.
She needed more. I got robbed. We all got robbed.
Yeah, she did not get robbed.
She got
She
robbed.
did not deserve to win that match. So
I didn't say win. I said do more.
she
I wanted
dominated the
more.
whole
Secretly, I
match.
wanted her to
What
win.
more
But
did you want?
anyway,
What more did you want?
not.
Tell me something.
I
Tell me
wanted her to
something.
be in the
What?
final three.
What?
That's what I wanted. I wanted final three, but I didn't get what I wanted.
She was final four.
I wanted final three.
Yeah, sorry. She dominated the match. She had the best showing out of anybody in that match, and she was eliminated early. What more do you want?
I want
For a
more
rookie
Tiffy
who
time.
she
I
just
want
got
more. I
she
want more
just
Tiffy
got I'm
time.
about to mute you. She just got called up. She's young as hell. Her time will there you are. Yeah, her time will come. Thank you. Her time will come. She absolutely dominated that match. She came out of that match an absolute star. And you're saying you wanted more? Like, what else do you need? Aside from her winning the match, there's nothing else you could have done in there.
Well, if you couldn't tell, I'm definitely a big supporter of Tiffany Stratton. So
I love Tiffany Stratton 100%. I love Tiffany. She's a freaking superstar. And after that match, further legitimize her. Like, to the moon, you got to push this woman. But I mean, what else do you want her to do? It was predetermined Becky was winning this match. No one else was winning this match.
I didn't have any issue.
They've already been building the Becky versus Rhea before the match was even, who was in the match was even announced. Like, she's awesome, bro. And yep, there you go. There you go. She's awesome, but you can't push her to the moon right now. You push her for what you're pushing her right now. And you know what? This is my problem. This is what WWE needs to do, like other promotions, AEW, and other indie promotions. You need to give these women an Intercontinental Championship or a US title or something, a TV championship like back in the day, like something, because that's something I would push Tiffany Stratton right now. Right here, Muffin Man. You got a supporter right here. Eliminated too early. Keep her in the match longer to push her more. Once again, Muffin Man. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the engagement. She dominated the match more than any other woman in that match, including the winner. What more do you need?
I'm in very much support of Tiffany Stratton. The whole women's chamber match overall, it was very good. I will say that.
Best match of the night. Best match of the night.
Hands down. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Overall, I probably think the person that didn't look the best, to be truthful with you, is
that's right. I like the Ace Gaming. You just earned yourself a follow, my guy.
I'm gonna have to say probably the person that didn't look the greatest, because they all looked wonderful in that match. I'm gonna probably have to say it was probably Naomi. Naomi had a lot of good spots too, but me and you had talked about this. Ultimately, with her going to AEW and going over
TNA,
and walking
TNA,
out
not
to
AEW,
TNA, sorry,
TNA.
not AEW, walking out back with Sasha Banks and everything. Was this more of, oh my goodness, we're going to make you look good, except we're going to only allow you to do so much, right? Is that punishment? Is that more of coming to terms with things? But the way that the women's chamber match ended, I love the pacing with that. I wasn't expecting it to go as quickly as it did with the transitions, and that was really cool.
It's TNA now. They're back to TNA, so sorry, Ace Gaming. Yeah, I was thinking that too. We did discuss this. I feel as though she got a little bit like, hey, we're glad you're back, but you're getting first eliminated. And I felt as though it's like, yo, you bring her back, you make this big deal. She lasted a long time in the Royal Rumble, and to get first eliminated in Elimination Chamber, I mean, certain things tell the story. You know what I mean? And to get the first eliminated in the chamber, I was like, man, I'm like, they're kind of doing her right now. But it is what it is. But like I said, the overall match 100% was the best match of the night, and that includes the women's championship match. My big takeaway, obviously, Tiffany Stratton, absolute star. Can't wait to see what she does. And I do want to touch that your girl Becky Lynch looked like a damn Thundercat, so I thought that was pretty funny. They witch so much tomorrow, they will be back to Global Force. All right. But yeah, she'll get a damn Thundercat. But unless you have anything else about that match, we're gonna move on.
I think we spent enough time of me supporting Miss Stratton, so we can
We all
continue.
support Stratton, bro. No one's disputing that whatsoever. She's a star. All right. The undisputed tag team title match with New Catch Republic versus the Judgment Day. Thoughts?
I liked how they allowed the 2K ratings because both the Catch Republic I think were rated 75 apiece, and
Mhm.
then you had Priest at 89 I think or 88, and then you also had Finn at 87 or 88. So
Finn was 87. Damian Priest 86.
that was really cool to see, of
Yeah.
course, the disparity. But as far as New Catch Republic, I actually enjoyed what they were able to put on because in storytelling mode, right? Friday they wrestled, so you have to travel, you're going overseas, and now you're going against the undisputed champions, and they still push them to their limits, right? And you know what? The big strong boy and Mr. Fingerbreaker himself, they look pretty good. I know I've been saying for a couple weeks that they would win in Perth, but they didn't. So that really slams the door shut on what I was initially pushing for WrestleMania booking. So overall, it was, I was very pleased with storytelling.
I thought the match was pretty good. Excuse me. So a few things. I like that Cole did a great job giving a background on them because they're more dominantly. They dominated more NXT UK than anything. And a little bit in NXT, but they made their names in NXT over UK. So that's something that I thought Cole did a fantastic job, and that's why I feel like Cole's one of the goats when it comes to play by play and announcing, because the guy is just giving people like you, someone who really doesn't know too much about NXT UK, just a little background on them. So I thought that. My biggest takeaway from this is that they did have a great showing. There were times in the match where I thought they were going to win, but they didn't. But I hope that they keep them a tag team going forward. I hope this was not just a one off.
They gave them their own music, right? Because on SmackDown, they came out individually to their own songs. And on
Mm-hmm.
this premium live event, they came out to a unified song, right?
I didn't catch that, but if you're right, then I like that.
I
I
think
just
they
hope,
did.
yeah. So I really didn't catch that. To be fair, I was fast forwarding to try to just get to the matches. So, but yeah,
Terrible.
but hey, man, I mean, dude, it took 20 minutes for the men's chamber entrance to get inside. Like, I don't got time for all that. But
Entrances are the best part.
I hope they keep them a tag team because you need to start once again. I love tag team wrestling, and they need to establish that tag team division. And for a team that was just mashed up, they work really well together. They have great chemistry, and they're looking more and more like a tag team each day. So I want them to keep that going forward and establish that tag team division. Another thing I wanted to say were the boos that Dominic Mysterio received announcing his Judgment Day. That
They
is,
turned down his mic a little bit.
they definitely turned down his mic. I think they always turn down his mic, but
Not like
man,
that. That was something else,
they
though.
were they were loud, bro. Like
Yeah, they were.
that was nuts. And like I said, you don't have to be liked or win to go over. And Dom is over, and he should have been in that title in the number one contender match. But that's just me.
We'll go over to the
Uh
Grayson Waller effect. Maybe this could be a good transition now
the
because you've
Grayson
had a lot of good
Waller
stuff.
effect. The Grayson Waller effect. Special guests Seth freaking Rollins and Cody, the American Nightmare Rhodes. Before I rip this apart, what did you think about it?
You needed a cooling off point for everything that was happening so far. And this was a perfect opportunity to do that. This wasn't supposed to be eye popping. This wasn't supposed to be, oh my God, more nonstop total action. This was a cooling off point because you figure what they're out there for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes, kind of doing their thing. And as far as Austin Theory getting smashed and thrown around, which I know that you don't care for, that did happen again. And I was interested to get in because storytelling, you have the wise man gathering Waller on Friday night, bringing him in front of the tribal chief. We don't know what was said. And ultimately, it played out in such a way where nothing actually happened, right? You had Austin Theory being the one interfering and doing things a little bit more. So it fell a little lackluster, but that's why I said it's more of a cooling off point. I will say though, the Cody Rhodes and Perth supporting him and the pops that he was getting, that was tremendous to see, because if you wanted to ask the question, is WWE doing the right thing with having Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns round 2? Just listen to the crowd. This is in a different country, and they're telling you exactly the level of support that they're now giving for Rhodes. And it wasn't just on the entrance, it was, again, midpoints as they were giving mad support. So these are things that I've been mostly anticipating as we get closer now to Mania, as I continue to listen to the different venue sites. In particular, you have Perth. Ultimately, we're going to be in Philly for WrestleMania leading into this. And I don't know what the other shows are going to be, but I know Chicago is coming up, I think, a week before WrestleMania, which is on a Monday. So, I mean, you're going to have some major cities that are going to have a lot of huge fandom, and there's going to be a lot of good evidence as whether or not they're doing the right thing with whatever booking that they're doing.
They're 100% doing the right thing, bro. Cody Rhodes is not going to get booed anywhere. I'm just saying that right now. Like, everyone's going to be behind Cody. Why? Because everyone's tired of Roman Reigns. I'm not. I just want to put that out there. But everyone's tired of Roman Reigns, bro. Like, it doesn't matter. So, I mean, when it comes to it's always cool hearing the crowd, everyone doing the whoa, you know what I mean? Like, it's cool.
I'll say this though, because I know we're trying to keep this within a good amount of time. Cody challenging The Rock, that was something that was quite interesting. As to where we're going to get it, is it night 1 of WrestleMania? Is it night 2? Tag match? Who knows? I don't know. But that was pretty interesting in itself.
All right, so here's my thought on this stupid waste of time that is the Grayson Waller effect. Number one, we all know Seth is freaking medically cleared. So, I mean, the way he's been moving, the way he's been getting involved in shit, that wasn't news to me. Number two, Cody challenges The Rock. Great. Challenge Dwayne Johnson. How are you going to fit in the story? You're going to make Cody do 2 nights in a row now. So everyone's saying don't do it with Roman Reigns, and now you're going to do it with Cody Rhodes. Or you might even do it together. We're in a tag team match. I mean, that's cool. But I mean, at this point, it's just like, just keep to the story, because now you're just trying to do too much. So you can get The Rock in some way. You can get him whenever you want. But I felt as though that was just something that was forced because you needed to do something with that segment, because the segment was crap overall.
It's a cool down period.
Screw your cool down period. You're at a PLE. Number 3, you had on 2 occasions the Bloodline reaching out to Grayson Waller. Okay. You had last Friday night, Paul Heyman go and talk to Grayson Waller and bring him to the locker room of the Bloodline. And you gave me 0 story with that whatsoever. Nothing. You gave me nothing. So was your plan was to belittle both of these guys the entire time? Because Grayson Waller does that without getting involved with the Bloodline, because that's the whole point of the Grayson Waller effect. Every time he has the Grayson Waller effect show, that's what he does. So you can't tell me that was the master plan of the Bloodline. Hey, when they go out there, talk shit to Cody and Seth Rollins and, acknowledge me and all that stuff. No, stupid. So you had 2 weeks of story thinking that we were going to get something to give me nothing. In fact, Cody was the one that delivered the whole Bloodline involvement of that storyline, which him challenging The Rock. Grayson Waller gave us nothing to that effect. So those 2 weeks of little backstage story and little, hey, I have a secret, come talk to me, was a waste of time. And lastly, my biggest problem of this whole thing is you have no idea what you're doing with Austin Theory. You have no idea what you're doing with Grayson Waller. And then you put them in a random tag team that you've been trying to push, and you let Grayson Waller watch him get his ass beat. So thus, breaking them up. And you still have no idea what you're doing with your young talent. Waste of time. You should have put the Kabuki Warriors on that part. You should have put this on the pre-show. Because I would have gladly skipped over it. Moving on. We got the men's chamber match. What did you think about the men's elimination chamber match in which we saw Drew McIntyre win, which we felt as though, was pretty obvious. But what did you think of the match overall?
I know you were getting some cold feet seeing the Maverick being the final three there.
Not at all.
Yes, you were. Don't lie
Not
to
at
me.
all. He did
Yes.
absolutely nothing that match. Nothing until he got eliminated.
Now, my question with the men's chamber match is Randy Orton legitimately hurt?
Man,
Because
I don't
that
know,
whole
bro.
spot at the very end where it took 86 years for them to come to the conclusion and Logan Paul, of course, putting the brass knucks on and then knocking Randy out, that took a long, long time
It did.
to get through that part.
I don't think so, because let's go back to Shotzi, right? That came out the next day. Hey, she's hurt. This happened. This is the next day. We're doing the show on a Sunday. We do it Saturdays, 9:30 Central Standard Time every week. But we're doing this on a Sunday night. All right. This happened Saturday morning at 3 a.m. our time. I felt like though something would have already came out. Hey, he's hurt. You know what I mean? Could he be hurt? Yeah, but I don't think it's severe, because this guy was still doing his, vintage Orton stuff with no problem. So I don't think so. I think he is maybe laboring a little bit, because think of his comeback. He did War Games as his first comeback off a major back surgery. And now you're in another, cage match, grueling type match in Elimination Chamber. You've only been back since November, man. So I mean, could he be hurting? Yeah. Is he severely hurt as what everyone's kind of freaking out about? I don't think so, because I felt like that would already came out. Because we're in a day and age where everything's hitting Bleacher
Viper never
Report.
ages.
We're in a day and age where everything's hitting Bleacher Report and ESPN. But hey, Viper, Baxter, something would have came out in that effect, I feel like.
That was the biggest thing. I mean, because overall, with all the men that were in the chamber match, the Maverick probably had the worst showing. I mean, ultimately, I was looking for a high spot. I was looking for something. He had the one high spot where he comes flying off and hits Drew McIntyre, but that was already in the final three. Prior to that, it was good to see Kevin Owens getting his licks in. Ultimately, did you see the video I sent you of of the Maverick drawing the Kevin Owens with the dry erase thing? That I didn't realize what he was doing, but that was pretty funny. Bobby Lashley, I will give him kudos. He looked really good in that match in particular. And so, yeah, he shocked me. He looked really good in that match, 100%. Like, the men did a really good job with the pacing. I called AJ
Can I interject for
Styles coming in.
something? Can I interject for something? Yo, Bobby Lashley getting Claymored, that Claymore to eliminate him. Oh my God. Like, I felt as though he legit took that. Like, I was like, dude, someone fucked up, because unless Drew McIntyre, like, all right, we all know, certain things they do in wrestling. Okay, we're not idiots. Unless Drew McIntyre slapped the shit out of his thigh to make it louder than it should have been, Lashley got clocked, bro. Like,
I'm just saying. Lashley,
man.
he looked really good in that match in particular. And so, I'm not the greatest Bobby Lashley fan. And Kevin Owens looked great. Randy, I call him to question if he legitimately is hurt or if he's not. As far as Logan Paul, he was by far not great in that match whatsoever. And then the AJ Styles coming in and taking away.
You did call that.
LA Knight. I said that. 100%. I did say that. In some type of way, that was one of the bigger things I was very proud of and happy to see. Ultimately, I would have loved to see LA Knight win it. But you know what? To see Drew McIntyre move forward as the savior of WrestleMania, I'm all for this storyline.
I pretty much agree with you on everything on this match. I think the match overall was really good. I don't think it was better than the women's. I think the women's was just phenomenal. Like, match of the night. Even, like I said, even over Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, which, spoiler alert, I enjoyed. But I felt as though this match was predetermined. We all knew that Drew was going to win that match. Yeah, there you go. River Dog right here. No way anyone but Drew was going to win that match. But I felt as though this match was more so setting up WrestleMania. You had a couple storylines that were within this match. So you got AJ Styles costing LA Knight, Paul costing Randy Orton the match as well. So is that something that's going to be at WrestleMania? Maybe a triple threat match, because we all know even Kevin Owens is still involved with Logan Paul. Something of that effect. Maybe simple one-on-one. You don't know, but there's definitely other stories that were set up in this match. But like I said, I mean, good match overall. I did want LA Knight to win. I felt as though this was the main way to get him off of SmackDown, because either way you slice it, if Roman Reigns retains, he's blocked for a world championship. If Cody Rhodes wins, he's still blocked for a world championship, because Cody's not going to have a 1 month reign, So I felt as though it would have been better to get him off while you can. But who knows? I mean, maybe WWE would do another pointless draft pretty soon, and you just draft them to Raw, or they don't listen to the damn brand split anyway. So I mean, he could show up at any point. Let's see what Muffin Man's got to say. Drew gonna win the title at WrestleMania, prepping for CM Punk return title shot. I'm glad you brought this up, because that was my next point. Muffin Man, once again, thank you for your engagement, and everyone else, thank you for engaging. That really helps us grow. So please hit those comments, like, shares. We love it. We appreciate you guys. But back to Muffin Man's comment. Drew's gonna win the title at WrestleMania. I 100% agree that he is going to win the championship at WrestleMania, and it doesn't matter if he wins the championship. See what I did there, The Rock? It doesn't matter if he wins, because Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, not Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is gonna lose, or Seth Rollins is going to lose his championship to send your Money in the Bank, because he's getting a cash in with the injury to CM Punk. And that's what's going to happen. This is his only window for him to cash. Otherwise, he will have a failed cash in. I think he successfully cashes in.
No.
So we'll see. And River Dog, we got an I agree. We got a yes. We're gonna highlight those again just to shove it in Gonzo's face. But we love Gonzo, my co-host. But ultimately, doesn't matter if Drew McIntyre wins or if Seth Rollins wins. I think this is the only chance for Drew, I keep saying Drew McIntyre, for Senior Money in the Bank to
just let it happen, because clearly Drew has prayed for this, and he is now getting his prayers answered. You are speaking this into existence. We don't want Senior Money in the Bank.
I do.
We want the living
Puerto Riqueño, bro.
No, I'm sorry. You can't even get the man's name correct at this point.
Damian Priest. I was really hoping Punk was a work. AJ taking out LA Knight before the match, and CM Punk's surprise entrance. Yeah, we all wish.
Could you imagine him just swinging around his brace, just knocking people out?
He just said it right here. Could you imagine? But that's my prediction. Like I said, with the injury to CM Punk, with Seth Rollins, yeah, he's cleared, but this guy's no way at 100% for WrestleMania. I don't care what you say. He's not going to be 100%. I don't know what the match quality we're going to get, but doesn't matter who wins that match. I think Senior Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, there, I said his name for you, will cash in successfully, because if he doesn't cash in successfully now, he will have an unsuccessful cash in when CM Punk and everyone else starts returning and starts getting more clouded in the main event picture. And, LA Knight could just show up on Raw because the brand split doesn't matter. So, do you have anything else you want to add for the men's chamber match?
I think we're good with leaving it at that for right now.
All right. The Raw Women's Championship. It's actually called the Women's World Championship. I think SmackDown's just called the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I think Rhea Ripley has the better of the two. But I don't know. Anyway, the Women's Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. We all know who is going to win in Perth here, except David. David, I want to go on record, picked Nia Jax to, so you guys can go in on them on the comments. That would be amazing. But yeah, so we all knew, except David, knew that Rhea Ripley was going to retain the championship. But David, what did you think of this match?
I was heartbroken. I really wanted, I'm going to break your face. Did you see the fan that had Nia Jax injured me? I almost,
yes.
I was in tears when I seen that.
It was amazing.
Oh, it was great. No, it was a good showing overall. As far as Nia Jax now having relevancy, it's good to see, because this whole angle again of I hurt people, I also broke your face, and that led to you becoming the man. It worked out very well because the crowd was even hot at the presser on Thursday when I had watched that, when it came to them booing Rhea, or not Rhea, Nia Jax. And then, of course, with Rhea coming out, the love, the support, her family was at ringside. It's one of those displays of pure entertainment, but the women put on a fantastic match. I will say that. And Nia, I can't really say with confidence that she's been able to do that in the past, but this new version of her, I'm liking what I'm seeing. She worked very well with Rhea.
I agree. I do not like Nia Jax. I think she has no business being in the main event. However, her character work lately has
It
been spot
warranted it.
on.
It
Has been
warranted it.
spot on. The match I enjoyed. I thought Rhea Ripley would have to slow down her style, which she did. She'd have to change up her style in order to support Nia Jax, which she did. But it was fun to see someone as dominant and physical as Rhea Ripley to work underneath in a match to make someone else look dominant and physical as her. And normally, when you're facing, normally when I'm watching a match and I see, styles that have to be altered because, someone is not the same style or bigger or smaller, case may be, whatever, the matches usually kind of take a turn because you have to adjust for that person in order to make the match flow. In this case, the match flowed because you actually had someone that could outmatch and was stronger, or at least looked just as strong as Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. And the match was able to flow much nicer that way. I mean, the table spots, her dominating Rhea Ripley. No one dominates Rhea Ripley right now. Nia Jax did. Nia Jax had a point in time where I'm like, is she gonna win this thing?
That's
In my head,
right.
I was like, nah, hell no.
From
I was like,
storytelling,
I
yes,
was
because
like,
that's
no,
how
no.
she's been built. It would support
So,
it.
so,
It gave it legitimacy.
no, it did not. But there was point in times where I'm like, man, she really looks really good. Like I said, the table spot when she did the Vader. Well, she doesn't call it the Vader bomb, but it's a Vader bomb.
It's the bonsai drop, sir.
Yeah, whatever, Vader bomb.
No,
So
Yokozuna. Thank
that's
you.
great, Vader
Give
bomb.
respect.
My era. So yeah,
They're from the same era.
That's
But
great.
anyway.
But I watch more Vader. Stop interrupting me before I meet you. But yeah, so like certain matches, like certain spots like that was really good, and it made me, I'm like, okay, Nia, if you give me this Nia on a consistent basis, then I won't hate you. So, but we all know she was not winning. Let's get to the comments real quick. What is this? It's Women World Championship and WWE Women's Championship. Thank you. See, no one even knows because it's stupid. Unify them. We have, remember, she is about of the bloodline. She's a part of the bloodline. Kinda. And bonsai drop, how dare you call it the Vader bomb? Because Vader's
Thank you.
better. Because Vader's
Okay.
better. That's why. It's time. It's time.
Let's go back to
It's
this
Vader
is during my
time.
Nah, dude, they're part of the
So,
same era, but whatever.
Nah, not really.
Okay.
But anyway, but yeah, that match I enjoyed a billion times more than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be the worst match on the card, but it wasn't. So, do you have anything else you want to add to that match?
No, I was pleasantly pleased with it. Uh-oh. I like that comment. Vader was just an angry ginger.
Whatever. But yeah, so with that being said, we're gonna go quickly into our last segment. So far we're gonna not break down, but this is what we got confirmed so far for the WrestleMania 40. We got confirmed matches: WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes; WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre; the Women's World Championship match, Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch; and I got, what's the other one called? I forgot what he said. WWE Women's Championship, Io Sky versus Bayley. Those are our 4 confirmed matches. So let's get into some potentials just really, really quick. This is going to be kind of a quick hit. So we saw the Uso on Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, the Intercontinental Championship. We 100% we are getting Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso. Are we in agreement with that?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Yeah.
I'm loving to see that. That's gonna be great.
Definitely. Here's another obvious one that no one cares about. We're gonna get another Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I would assume, right?
I hope they leave that off, but we don't need
It's
that.
it's usually a pre-show type deal, So here's my prediction. So I didn't have the Judgment Day losing the tag titles because of the whole storyline with the Miz and R-Truth. So I think we're gonna get Awesome Truth reuniting at WrestleMania to face the Judgment Day for the tag titles. Is that
And
a little
going over, and that's
is
what you're gonna say. They're gonna go over, huh?
is that a little far fetched, or what do you think?
As I see R-Truth just starting throwing money all over the place after they win, yeah, it's gonna be great. No, you know what? I like this. You're in my realm with fantasy booking on that one, so yeah, I'll support that one.
I mean, they think about it. I mean, they've been tagging. I mean, Miz has been kind of teasing, "Hey, we used to be a tag team. Like, why are you with Judgment Day?" I don't know. I think unless you can think of another tag team that's deserving right now that might be placed into, you got to have the titles defended, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be it. R-Truth is so over right now. Absolutely, Muffin Man. Awesome Truth would win if that happens. And we got a bold prediction. The Rock will cost Roman the title. Book it right now. Okay. All right. Let's see. So obviously, because of the men's chamber match, we saw some storylines develop there. So do you think we are getting Styles versus LA Knight WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's been
Okay.
building for quite some time now.
All right. And like I said,
Usher, with
yeah,
Usher coming out and putting LA Knights, yeah, that is
There-
100% what I
there's
want.
no way that's gonna happen.
Absolutely, that's 100% what I want.
All right. Another one, probably spanning from the Elimination Chamber. Do we get Logan Paul versus Randy Orton, or do we possibly get maybe a triple threat U.S. title match with Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, and Randy Orton?
I like the idea of the triple threat.
Okay. I think this has also been going for a while. LWO versus Legado del Fantasma, their blow off. Possibly.
Put them on the pre-show.
Possibly. And lastly, I don't know where this one goes, but you have to have it. Gunther's opponent.
I guess your prediction of Braun Breaker may or may not be gaining more steam at the moment, but
It's not getting any steam because he signed a SmackDown. So
yeah, but according to your logic, it doesn't matter because they're just going to blur the lines anyway.
probably,
So I mean, if it's not Braun Breaker, then
you still think
then who?
Derek the guy, you still think Braun Breaker, he signed a SmackDown, bro.
They can do whatever they want, but
They can do what they want. Riverdog says triple threat with who? Riverdog. Let me know.
the U.S. title.
Oh, U.S. title. Got it. Okay. I thought you were talking about Intercontinental. Yeah, so Gunther's opponent. Gunther's got to have an opponent. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship in history. My prediction was Braun Breaker, like Derek the guy said, but if he signed with SmackDown, I mean, who knows? He's backtracking. Never mind. He says, nah, never mind. It's obviously Gable. Really, Chad Gable. Really? Interesting. Okay.
I don't know the history there. You'll have to educate me another time then.
He's been going after the title, but he's been getting his ass beat by Gunther. But I don't know. I mean, that could be, but is he the one to beat him? Is that someone that you would go? I'm gonna throw a name out there real quick. This is the last. Hey, you would love that. That's Gable's tag partner.
I know it is.
What about Sheamus, guys? We need a rubber match, right? They're both 1-1 against each other. Do we get Sheamus coming back? Maybe fighting Gunther?
You can put that on the pre-show then. I don't want to watch that trash.
Wow. Chris Jericho comes back to challenge Gunther. One can only hope. All right, guys. With that being said, we got a lot of things going. We are now on the road to big time WrestleMania. We are 40 some odd days away. That's going to wrap up our show for today. We want to thank you guys for joining us. The engagement has been great. Remember, please continue to do that. Like, comment. And once again, guys, if you guys come across our clips, like, share, comment, help us out. We like to grow. The more likes and shares, the more involvement we get, the better we'll grow. And also, if you see a clip of Pushberry Fire. Comment who you want us to do, and we will do it next week for you guys. We appreciate you. Great show. We will see you next week, Muffin Man. Shows who the real greatest. We all know who the greatest Intercontinental champion is. This Chris Jericho.
China,
But yeah,
yes.
once again, guys, we appreciate the engagement. We love it. So we're gonna wrap up here. Gonzo, tell us what you got going on and where everyone can find you. Okay.
As far as social media goes, we're still on X, we're still on Instagram, TikTok, and then YouTube, Raising Personalities. You're going to find me on all the platforms except X. I changed it up a little bit, and my X, you're going to find me just how my name reads is the David MALCPC. The only difference is it's going to have the underscores after David and then the MA. So I'll be cooking up some things again, just making sure that we're pushing at least our wrestling podcast here. And, as far as some other content, it's just talking more about a little bit more what I do for a career, and that's a behavioral health therapist and addictions therapist as well, and being able to give a little bit more discussion and feedback in total wellness of life living.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you guys ever want to reach out to my boy, I reach out to him all the time, crying, letting him know my feelings, how I hate big men, all that good stuff. So reach out to my guy. He will surely help you guys out. Look for him, Raising _ personalities on all social media except X, David _ MA _ LCPC on X. And for myself, you can find me on all social media as it reads, pro _ wrestling _ kingpin. So if you see me, like, follow, share, comment. I greatly appreciate it. It just helps us grow. You could find me. I just recently did a guest spot on the Jelly Cards podcast. That episode is up, where we talk about the landscape of pro wrestling cards. Yeah, those are a thing. Go buy them. It's fun. But go ahead and listen to that episode. But even if you don't want to just talk about wrestling cards, they talk about all sports cards and anything that has to do with the hobby: baseball, football, hockey, Pokemon, you name it, they got it. Go follow my boy Jelly _ cards, and more importantly, go listen to that episode that features Pro Wrestling Kingpin, because that guy's awesome. Next thing I want to throw out there, we are in the works. I want to put that out right now. If you are in the Chicago area, we have a new podcast starting up with my guest, my co-star, A-OK Gaming, and possibly Raising Personalities Gonzo over here. It is called the How You Figure podcast, and we talk about Chicago sports. We'll talk about Justin Fields drama, the Chicago Cubs, how shitty the White Sox are, how shitty the Bulls are, all that good stuff. You can find us on TikTok currently only. That is How You Figure podcast, and the first episode will be in the next couple weeks. But until then, I want to appreciate you guys once again for devoting your Sunday night, listen to us talk shit and yell at each other and talk about how amazing Chris Jericho is and all that good stuff. So with that being said, we appreciate you guys. Smack Talk Wrestling Podcast, all social media, Spotify. We'll see you next week. Kingpin out.